Hello and welcome to our session on the office space digital twin. We are a team from Accenture Song Portugal. That's myself, Pedro Bastos, and Nelson Pinheiro, who will be presenting our case here today. I will give you a brief introduction to our project and the background. I will hand over to Pedro, who will be speaking about the 3D production pipeline, who will hand over to Nelson, who will be talking about the 3D scanning pipeline and the use in XR. And we will then move into a demo of our result within Microsoft Mesh. And then we'll have some closing words at the end. 2 sentences to myself. I'm a sales manager at Accenture Song Portugal. I joined Accenture through the acquisition of the company that I was working for in Germany. I have 20 plus years experience in 3D product visualization, started as a graphics designer and moved into management positions in later years. Our project, the goal, the idea of our project is to build a digital twin, a digital version of our headquarter office of Accenture Song here in Portugal, in Lisbon. We want to use this digital version in the future to support different internal processes, from onboarding processes, maybe also moving into operational tasks such as booking your desk when you want to come to the office, or other things that we might not have thought of yet. A central goal of us here in this project is that we want to recreate the office in a very high visual quality to make it look and also feel very close to the real office. So that it really is a great representation of our office. Today we'll be sharing the current work in progress with you, which is just a limited space that we've created as a POC. We'll be giving some insight into what and how we've done this. We started from the floor plan of the office, rebuilding it in Blender, using Krita and Materialize, moving into Unity, and finally into Mesh. Photos taken on site enrich the result, and 3D scanned objects also enhance the experience. The team, that's myself, more or less like the project sponsor, the business connector into Accenture. Pedro is our 3D expert, the visual artist, and the technical lead on the project. And Nelson is our mesh expert, our scanning expert, and technology enthusiast who has a lot of the toys needed for the processes at his personal dispense. Project challenges that we have, of course, with the high visual quality standard that we want to achieve and the high attention of detail, that's of course a challenge that we're facing. We really want to have this as close to photorealism as possible. We want to have a realistic interaction with the environment, so that if there's a closed door, you have to open it first to walk through. If there's a button, we want to be able to press them, and things like that. One challenge that we see, of course, or that we have, is that we're working on a system that is still in development. And with recent license changes, it was quite a challenge to actually get this session up and running, because we quickly had to change a lot of things on the project. At the same time, we want to define a low cost and quick 3D production pipeline for this XR approach, so that we can create a product or create a service that we can bring to our clients in the future, recreating their spaces and their offices, and show that on the example of our office. And of course, at the same time, we're also looking into using AI tools or other automations to make our process super lean and super fast. I'm now handing over to Pedro, who will talk in detail about these processes and what we've done so far.
Thank you so much, Peter, for the introduction. So my name is Pedro. I am a content design senior analyst at Accenture. I have a PhD in digital media, and I have over 10 years experience as a 3D generalist and technical artist. So I'm going to talk to you about the 3D production pipeline that we have been using for the production of this environment of the Sant 37 office headquarters in Lisbon of Accenture. So essentially, what we have been doing here is we are having a mix between 3D scanning pipeline and 3D production pipeline. So my colleague Nelson will refer in more detail to the 3D scanning pipeline. I'm starting off with that because essentially it's where everything is kind of starting off, so that then it can go to each of the stages within the 3D production pipeline. So namely, I'm talking about the modeling stage, where all the models are built for the several structures of the environment and several objects that make up the environment. Then the UV mapping is created also on a per object basis. If we need to use rigging, we can also use it. It has not been the case so much yet, but we can use this in the future to improve, for instance, animation issues that can arise in the future. We are using animation already. This is more inside of Unity, for instance, to open the doors, but you'll see that in a minute. Then we are also approaching a PBR texturing workflow. So that's a physically based rendering workflow. And then materials prepared in Unity and shaders as well, all the lighting to bring out the most of the environment. And we can also resort to scripting. So these are some of the resources that we're using. Actually, the resources that we are using currently, all of this is of course work in progress. These are the ones that we are using right now, and we're liking the way that it's working currently. The relationship between these tools is working out really well, in our opinion. So I'm going to be showing you each of these tools briefly. So starting off with Blender, I can drag in a window to show you off Blender. So Blender is essentially an open source tool for 3D production. It's Blender.org, and you can do all kinds of 3D production content using Blender. So that's what we're using for the modeling and UV mapping essentially currently. Then there's also Krita. So Krita is a professional, also free and open source painting program. So we're using Krita right now essentially to create the textures for our environment. So we start off with the scans of the environment, which already include textures, and then we work them in Krita to improve them and get them ready for Unity. So that's Krita. Then we're also using Materialize, which is also a free software that allows to create materials for interactive applications such as games from images. And that's what we are doing as well, and we are experimenting with this. And then there's Unity. So Unity is the real-time game engine that we're using to put all our content inside of Unity, and then from there do the link with Microsoft Mesh, and have our environment ready to be displayed in Microsoft Mesh. So here we have Mesh, which is the software by Microsoft that we are using in order to have our environment from Unity working in Teams, essentially, as well. All right, so to wrap up this stage, just to show you, so this is currently the setup that we have. We're starting off with Blender, essentially, then moving on to Krita. So in Blender, we prepare the modeling and the UV mapping. In Krita, we prepare textures. Then in Materialize, we prepare the materials. Then we hop to Unity into creating more materials and shaders and lighting. And then we export this content into Microsoft Mesh, and we preview it in Mesh. All right, so right now I'm going to show you a brief demo in Blender of our environment. So talk to you soon. Hi again. So in this video, I am going to show you a little bit more about Blender and specifically the environment that we have been creating within the 3D production pipeline using Blender. So this is the environment that you can see right here. We have it divided into two main areas. One is the hall, which is in here. And the other one is the foyer, which is this larger room in here, which also contains a window to the exterior. So the user starts here, and then the user can travel around in the hall and reach the foyer as well. So there are two doors in here, and the user can go through them, access the foyer, and visit around. Now, the foyer is a room that was built after the hall. It is not as much detailed yet as the hall is. I would say none of these two are complete yet. Both still need quite some work, but I'd say that the foyer is the one that needs the most. It's specifically not filled in yet with any objects, and it is a room that would have more objects, or let's say specific objects, such as, for instance, couches that are in here, tables, also specific types of ceiling lights, and all of that could bring out the most of this particular room. As you can see, so there are a number of situations already that can be observed, such as these doors and decorations that we see here. In here, there's a lot of components with different types of materials, like, for instance, glass, and there's a lot of reflections. So it's a very nice environment to explore. So I hope that you've liked this brief intro to Blender and what we have here currently. We'll be looking at this environment in more detail in Unity already with color and textures, materials, lighting, and all of those things that will really bring out the most of the environment. So in here, in Blender, our focus was essentially on building the models for the several sections, being very careful in dividing the different components that make up the environment, also building the UV maps very carefully, and then exporting all of this ready for Unity in order to build in Unity all the remaining parts of the pipeline. So I hope that you like to have a look at this part, and I'll show you the next part really soon. See you soon. All right, I hope you have enjoyed the Blender demo, and now I'm stepping into the Unity demo. So I hope you like it, and talk to you soon. All right, welcome back. So now we are inside Unity, having a look at the environment that I previously showed you in Blender. So just to recap, we have in here the hall, this entire space over here, and this other space in here is the foyer room. So this is the wireframe view. So I'll quickly change that to shaded, and now we can clearly see that we have a lot of color and materials and textures and also lighting already applied and set up for both these spaces, the hall and the foyer. So let's have just a quick zoom in here, have a look at the hall. So we have the floor here, we have the elevators, we have a couple of doors here that the user will be able to click on. This message here clearly states to click on the doors to open them in order to access the foyer here, which has been prepared mostly only in terms of structure, again, not having objects filling in the space, and all of this black part in here is just darkened on purpose because it's not yet been worked. All of this is a work in progress, so that's why we are focusing right now on the hall and the foyer, specifically this part of the foyer. So now let's have a look at how this is behaving. So for that, I'm going to quickly enable here the Microsoft Mesh avatar, which is in here, and I'll hit the play button in Unity so that we can have a look of how the environment is behaving with the Microsoft Mesh avatar and what the user can do in this environment. So it's right now loading that, and in a few moments we'll be able to walk around the environment and perform a few actions that we have prepared so far. So let's hopefully look at that really soon. Here it is. So it starts off with a quick dialogue, just welcoming us to floor 3 of the Sun 37 office in the Lisbon headquarters of Accenture. So I can just press OK in that, and now I can just look around at the environment, hear the elevators, the doors to access the foyer, the floor in here. So I'll just click on the doors, and the text now tells me that I can access the foyer room. And here we are in the foyer. We have been conducting some tests here. Again, this is all work in progress, but this is to simulate light coming through the outside window, so that we have a more realistic kind of look at the environment. We have these inscriptions in the wall. We have the reflections in the windows here. We have the TV set in here. And again, we can access the hall space. But before we do that, I just want to illustrate how if I close the doors, I am not able to go through. So all of this is pre-configured, and it can be adapted to our needs. So in this case, we are again returning to the hall. And in here, we can actually enable the elevator doors to open here. We haven't yet worked on the inside of the elevator. That can be something to work on in the future. And we are also working on the quality of the reflections. For instance, here in the ground, you can see that. You can see that in the glass over there. So I'll just quickly close the elevator doors and the doors to access the foyer. And that's it for the moment. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration in Unity with Mesh. Thank you. All right, I hope that you have enjoyed the Unity demo. I am now handing over to my colleague Nelson, who will talk to you about the 3D scanning pipeline. Thank you once more. Bye-bye.
Hello everybody, my name is Nelson Pinheiro. I work at Accenture. I'm passionate about all types of technology. Mainly, I love XR technologies like AR, MR, all that have to do with this kind of stuff. And I'm today presenting you some of the tools you can use to be easy on the capture of the 3D assets that you need for your projects. So let's start. I will start with an application that is Scaniverse. This application, Scaniverse, they are part of Niantic since 2021. And it's a free application, completely free, that can facilitate your job when you are trying to create 3D assets. With just a phone, you can create everything. You can capture several objects, and then you can export that object into Blender, for example. I can give you a bit of an example here. That means you have the site here of Niantic, of Scaniverse, sorry, and I have recorded a demo of the app so you can see how it works. So let's start to see the demo, okay? Just 1 minute. And now, give me just 1 minute, okay? And here is the app. This is recording directly from my phone, so I can show you that is very easy. The app is free and available on the App Store. And you just have to follow some simple steps to start scanning, for example, a space. This is the case. So you open the application. You can set the range that you want to capture. In this case, my phone has LiDAR, and the LiDAR helps you to get more accurate scans. But even if your phone doesn't have LiDAR, you can use this app nevertheless, okay? So we start to create. We have to clean all the red areas to have a clean scan, okay? And after the capture is done, you can export this into several types of files. We can see this later on the app. So I continue to, in this case, this is a coffee point that we have in our office here at Accenture in Lisbon. When you are capturing, it's better to be very slow on the capture, okay? And almost in less than 1 minute, you can have a detailed capture of your office or the object that you want to capture and to scan to. It's almost finishing. After you finish, you can select detail, area, or speed. In this case, I selected area because I didn't take much long to capture everything. So now it's processing the scan. It's building the mesh. One thing to mention is that the guys from the app are always updating the app with new features and fixing old bugs. And now you can just save what you have captured. You can even measure the mesh. Like if you are using the LiDAR, it can give you like approximate distance of the stuff that you just have captured. Now I can cut the piece a bit. For example, you can adjust several things after your capture has been taken. And in the end, you can export the file into several type of files that can be worked on, for example, in Blender or Unity. As you can see, there are several types of files that you can use. Okay. Now getting to, you can walk around a bit. Getting to the next application that I use is Lumen Labs AI. It's a new app. I believe it's very recent. And they use Gaussian. At this moment they use Gaussian cloud. They were initially using Nerf in the captures, and as you will see, it's very detailed, and it's also a very nice app to use in capturing 3D assets, for example. This is their website. I will show you the capture as it is make. Okay. You start to capture. You walk around. You have several types of captures. You can capture like this one, where you take several photos of the object, and in the end it makes his magic and you'll transform it on a 3D object. Or you can, for example, record a video and upload the video to the app, for example. Like, it takes a lot of photos, indeed, but believe me, the final result is awesome, and it can be exported to several mediums also. It continues to capture. At this point, I could press finish, but I want to have a bit of more detail, okay? So I continue to capture. Now I just have to upload. I can give a name to the capture. In this time, I just name it Crystal. A very complex name. And now it just starts to upload the capture. After the capture is made, you can go to here and just render the capture. As you can see what is the final result of the capture. And you can also export into several type of files. It creates a very beautiful video. And then I'm walking around. I'm controlling this, okay? And now I will talk a bit of a new headset that just came out. Let me just... Sorry. I'll talk about the new headset from Meta. The Meta Quest 3. Just, it's like a medium a way of you to enter in VR, of course. And it will be used also. You can use it to enter on Mesh, the Microsoft Mesh. And we'll have a little presentation about that also, a little video. But I will just show you the site of the MetaQuest device. Give me just 1 minute, sorry. And yeah, here it is. This new headset, the biggest advantage is that it is a mixed reality device also. It has a depth sensor where it will be used to capture your space, your mesh of your environment. And with that, several experiences that can be created using that mesh. And for example, in a fitness application, all your inner room, all your side walls will disappear, and your room will be transformed on a gymnasium, for example, on a fitness center. This will be a very big advantage of using it. Okay, it's very new, and we will using it to enter on mesh. Now I'll have a mesh demo that is here, that I was with my colleague Peter that just talked minutes ago. Let's go to mesh. My name is Nelson, and I will be your guide today. Pedro is behind the camera recording.
Hi there.
We are currently on our Santos headquarters digital twin. And it's a beautiful weather in the metaverse today. So let's go, and now we will give you a quick tour in this Microsoft Mesh space that we have created. So let me just open these doors and let's start the tour. So here you are in our elevators hall, and now let's take a bit of a peek in our office. As you can see, here we have a very powerful message that we have in our office. All of these was created through Blender and Unity, and it is already in Mesh. This is exactly like the real world. This is awesome, Pedro, right?
Yeah, it's looking great.
Very cool. Let's continue the tour. Here you have a meeting room. Probably there is a meeting happening here because it's closed.
Yeah.
Let's continue. And you can see you have a television. Whoa, the reflexes on this they are awesome. Look at all these reflexes on the glasses. This is all built from the ground up from. Let's continue the tour. This is a very quick tour because this is a work in progress. So let's head back to the elevators. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick tour. And see you. Bye bye. Let me call the elevator to get out. Bye bye.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you so much.
So, as you can see, my avatar has nothing to do like me because in this world you can be wherever you want to be. And I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Pedro. That's amazing. The quality is just breathtaking already. It's really, really cool. So I'm very much looking forward to taking our POC to the next level, bringing more space into the virtual space, hoping to recreate the building floor by floor and eventually have much more available in the virtual space than we have today. What we saw today from the third floor on our office is maybe something like 10, maybe 15% of the actual office floor. So yeah, there's still a lot of work to do, but the POC is already in a great spot. We want to use this time to thank Microsoft for helping us bring all of this to life and also letting us show this in the first place. And of course, we have a couple of colleagues that we need to send our special thanks to Amy Sparling, Diego Bonilla, and Fabio Mattuzzi. Those are the ones we really need to point out and send our special thanks to. Obrigado. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time, for your patience, for your attention, and we hope you had a nice and joyful ride with us. Thank you very much. Goodbye.